The rain hammered against the cracked window of Aisha's one-bedroom apartment like a relentless accusation, each drop echoing the shatter of her world. She sat cross-legged on the threadbare rug, her scrubs still clinging to her skin from a 12-hour shift, the fabric damp with tears she couldn't stop. In her trembling hands, she clutched a crumpled receipt, a simple white slip of paper for a wedding dress she'd never wear. $200 she didn't have, scraped from overtime pay and skipped meals, all for a dream that evaporated in a single text message at 2:17 a.m. Asterisk, I can't do this anymore, Aisha. She's everything you're not. Don't call. Asterisk. Her fiancé of 3 years, Marcus. No, not that Marcus, a different one. The charming architect who'd promised forever under the magnolia trees of their first picnic, had chosen someone else. Someone lighter-skinned, someone whose curls didn't coil like wild vines, as he'd once joked. The betrayal clawed at her chest, a raw, gaping wound that made her gasp for air. Aisha, 28, black nurse with calloused hands that had steadied dying breaths in the ER, felt utterly small. Asterisk, why me? Why always me? Asterisk, she whispered to the empty room, her reflection in the rain-streaked glass a blurry mosaic of exhaustion and heartbreak. The dress she'd eyed in the thrift store window, ivory lace, modest yet elegant, a symbol of the life she was building despite the world's whispers that she didn't deserve it, now mocked her from the paper's faded ink. She rocked forward, sobs tearing free, the kind that hollowed you out, leaving only echoes of who you used to be. In that moment, alone with the storm, Aisha wondered if she'd ever stitch herself back together. Aisha arrived at St. Mary's Hospital just as the dawn bled pink across the sky, her eyes puffy but hidden behind oversized sunglasses she'd borrowed from her roommate. It's fine, she told herself, forcing a smile that didn't reach her soul as she clocked in at the pediatric oncology ward. Asterisk, people leave. Dreams die. But shifts go on. Asterisk, denial was her armor, forged in the fires of too many losses. Her mother's slow fade from breast cancer when Aisha was 16, the scholarship that slipped away because affirmative action quotas, the string of dates that ended with polite excuses about cultural differences. She couldn't afford to crack now, not with bills piling like unanswered prayers and that dress receipt burning a hole in her purse. The ward hummed with the soft chaos of morning rounds, beeping monitors, the chatter of nurses trading shifts, the faint scent of antiseptic masking the undercurrent of fear. Aisha's first patient was little Jamal, 8 years old, his small frame swallowed by the bed, his dark skin ashen against the crisp white sheets. Leukemia had stolen his bounce, but not his spark. His eyes lit up when she entered, wide and trusting, like she was the anchor in his storm-tossed sea. "Morning, superstar," Aisha said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her chest. She adjusted his fore, her fingers gentle, practiced. Jamal's hand, fragile as a bird's wing, caught hers. "Nurse Aisha, did you bring the stories today? The ones about the brave queens?" She hesitated, the weight of last night's text pressing like a stone. Brave queens don't cry over men who don't see them, but denial whispered louder. Asterisk, push it down. Be the hero he needs. Asterisk, of course, baby. Queen Zinga, who fought armies with nothing but wit and a spear. As she spun the tale, Jamal's laughter bubbled up, weak but real, a small victory that warmed the chill in her bones. For those 10 minutes, she wasn't the discarded fiancée. She was unbreakable, a beacon in his dim world. But pain has a way of seeping through cracks. During lunch, a stale granola bar in the break room, it ambushed her. Tasha, her mentor and the ward's grizzled charge nurse, slid into the seat across from her. Tasha, 50-something with silver streaks in her braids and a laugh like thunder, had seen Aisha through her mother's deathbed vigils. "Girl, you look like you wrestled a ghost and lost." "Spill." Aisha's fork hovered over her untouched salad. Asterisk, it's nothing. I'm fine. Asterisk, the word stuck, denial's glue. But Tasha's gaze, warm and unyielding, pried it loose. "He left," Aisha blurted, the confession tasting like bile. "Said I'm not enough. And that dress, God, Tasha, I saved for months. For us. Now it's just paper trash." Tasha reached across, her hand rough from years of bedpans and heartbeats. Baby, that man didn't leave you. He left his own smallness. You're the one holding this floor together. Remember Mrs. Ellis last year? The mom who lost her twins? You sat with her till sunrise, no questions. That's your enough. Wisdom wrapped in warmth, but it stung, cracking the facade. Aisha nodded, tears pricking, but inside, pain roared. Asterisk, what if she's wrong? What if I'm always the one patching others while I bleed out? Asterisk. Afternoon brought more shadows. Jamal's father, Marcus. Asterisk, no, not like him. Asterisk, Aisha thought bitterly. Arrived with a bouquet of wilted daisies, his broad shoulders slumped under the weight of helplessness. Marcus was in his mid-30s, a single dad with kind hazel eyes shadowed by grief, his locks tied back neatly. He'd lost his wife to the same disease 2 years prior, pouring his soul into Jamal's fight. Thank you for yesterday, he said, voice low, as Aisha checked vitals. He talks about you nonstop. Says you're his warrior queen. Aisha forced a chuckle, but her hands shook on the stethoscope. Asterisk warrior? I'm barely surviving. Asterisk, he's the brave one, she replied, glancing at Jamal, who dozed with a stuffed lion clutched tight. Marcus lingered, his presence a quiet comfort amid the beeps. These places, they strip you bare, he murmured, eyes distant. But you make it bearable, like a light in the dark. The words landed soft, a stranger's warmth piercing her armor. For a fleeting moment, denial faltered, pain twisting into something almost grateful. But as Marcus left, promising to return with Jamal's favorite comics, Aisha sank into a chair, head in hands. Asterisk, why does kindness feel like pity? Am I so broken that even strangers see the fractures? Asterisk, the shift dragged, each hour a slow unraveling. By evening, as she changed out of scrubs in the locker room, the mirror reflected a woman hollowed by betrayal. Curves she'd once loved now felt like burdens. Her full lips pressed thin against sobs she swallowed whole. That night, back in her apartment, pain crested like a wave. She pulled out the receipt again, tracing the numbers with a fingertip scarred from a patient's thrashing. Asterisk, I can't afford pretty things. Can't afford love. Asterisk, internal dialogue looped mercilessly. You're too much black girl. Too loud. Too curly. Too everything for their fragile worlds. Yet, in the quiet, a tiny voice stirred. A memory of Jamal's grin, Tasha's grip. Small victories, fragile threads. Denial was crumbling, but in its ruins, pain began to breathe, raw and real, demanding she face the wound. Aisha curled under her quilt, whispering to the dark. Maybe tomorrow, I let it hurt. For the first time, it felt like a step, not a fall. Weeks blurred into a fragile rhythm at St. Mary's. Each day a delicate dance between the ward's demands and Aisha's thawing heart. Reflection came unbidden, in the stolen silences between codes and comforts, like the pre-dawn coffee runs where steam curled like unanswered questions, or the rooftop bench where she'd escape for air, staring at the city lights that twinkled like distant hopes. Pain no longer clawed blindly. It settled, heavy but navigable, urging her to sift through the debris of her shattered engagement. Who was I before him? She pondered one crisp autumn morning, bundled in a thrift store coat, the dress receipt now tucked in a journal like a relic. Asterisk, a girl who bandaged knees on the block, who dreamed of healing the world one heartbeat at a time. Not his shadow, but my own son. Asterisk. Jamal's room became her unintended sanctuary. The boy's condition wavered, good days of coloring sessions, and bad ones of fevers that left him limp, but his spirit mirrored her mending. One afternoon, as chemo dripped steadily, Jamal tugged her sleeve. Nurse Aisha, why do bad things happen to good people? Like me getting sick, or you looking sad sometimes? His innocence pierced her, a child's wisdom unfiltered by adult cynicism. Aisha sat on the bed's edge, folding his tiny hand in hers. Asterisk, denial would lie. Pain would wallow. But reflection? It invites truth. Asterisk, oh, Jamal, she said softly, voice thick. Bad things, they come like storms. They soak you, bend you. But they also clear the sky. Your sickness? It's teaching you to be fierce, like that lion you love. And my sad? It's from someone who didn't know how to hold my light. She paused, internal dialogue swirling. Asterisk, am I ready to name it? The betrayal wasn't just his. It was mine, for dimming to fit his gaze. Asterisk. Jamal's eyes, bright despite the pallor, held hers. Then be the storm, Nurse Aisha. Roar back. Laughter escaped her, genuine and freeing. A small victory, warm as sunlight through clouds. In that exchange, realization bloomed. Healing wasn't erasure, but reclamation. She wasn't too much. She was exactly enough. Her blackness a tapestry of resilience, not a flaw. Marcus noticed the shift, his visits lengthening into quiet companionship. A widower architect like her ex, but worlds apart, his grief a bridge, not a barrier. He'd bring puzzles for Jamal, or herbal tea for Aisha, sharing stories of his wife, Elena, whose laughter had filled their home like music. She taught me love isn't possession, he confessed one evening, as Jamal napped. They stood by the window, city hum below. It's witnessing, seeing the whole of someone, scars and shine. Aisha leaned against the sill, reflection deepening. Asterisk he sees me, not as broken, but as becoming. Asterisk, I thought I knew that, she admitted, vulnerability a soft exhale. But he, my ex, made me feel like a draft sketch. Erased when the final version came. Marcus turned, his gaze steady, hazel depths reflecting her own unspoken ache. You're no sketch, Aisha. You're the masterpiece. The way you move through this place, steadying storms for kids like mine, that's art. Warmth spread, a mentor's echo in a stranger's words. Tasha, too, wove in, pulling Aisha aside after a grueling shift, her braids swaying like pendulums of time. Listen, child, Tasha said over vending machine cocoa. Reflection ain't just looking back, it's choosing forward. That dress, burn the receipt if you must, but buy one for you. Not for a man, but for the queen staring back. Wisdom landed like a bomb, sparking a plan. Aisha enrolled in a night class on holistic nursing, a small victory toward dreams deferred. Jamal's downturn came swift, a complication that pulled the ward into hushed urgency. As monitors wailed, Aisha held his hand, Marcus on the other side, their shared vigil a tapestry of unspoken bonds. In the aftermath, Jamal stabilized, but forever changed. Aisha reflected in the chapel, candlelight flickering on stained glass, saints who looked nothing like her, but felt like kin. Loss layers us, but doesn't define. Internal dialogue softened. Asterisk you've grieved before. Mom, dreams, now this echo of betrayal. Each time, you rise, stronger in the bend. Asterisk. Personal growth unfurled tentative, then bold. One rainy evening, as Jamal colored a rainbow lion, Marcus lingered after the others left. Aisha, he said, voice tentative, hands fidgeting with a daisy from the bouquet. Jamal's been asking about you outside these walls. And me? Well, Elena's been gone 2 years. First time I'm looking up, not just surviving. He swallowed, eyes vulnerable. Will you be my first date? Not as pity, but as possibility. Dinner maybe? Somewhere with real laughter. Her heart stuttered. Fear's old whisper. Asterisk not again. Not worthy. Asterisk but growth roared back. Asterisk you are. Witness yourself first. Asterisk Aisha smiled. Slow and real. The dress's ghost fading. Yes, Marcus. Let's see what the storm clears to. In the days that followed, renewal whispered promises. Aisha bought a dress, not ivory, but sapphire blue, hugging her curves like an embrace. She wore it to their first outing, Jamal discharged, and cheering from home via video. Laughter flowed over pasta and stories, Marcus's hand brushing hers, a spark without demand. Internal peace settled, a quiet knowing. Asterisk healing is messy, non-linear. But in the mirrors of others, children's truths, mentors' fires, lovers' gazes, we see our wholeness. Asterisk. As autumn leaves turned gold, Aisha stood on her apartment balcony, rain a gentle patter now, not hammer. The journal held new pages, sketches of futures, unburdened. Betrayal scar remained, a teacher, not tyrant. She was Aisha, nurse, queen, survivor, renewed in self-acceptance. Her spirit a garden after winter, blooming fierce and free. Moral of the story. True healing blooms not from erasing our wounds, but from tending them with courage, allowing the pain to teach us our depth, reflections to reveal our light, and unexpected connections to remind us that inner strength is the quiet force that turns heartbreak into the soil of renewal.